What is up, my viewers? Spang here, bringing you a World of Tanks gameplay commentary. This will be a viewer-submitted replay from Tank Warrior 2 and his KV-1 on Airfield, which only has standard battle to the best of my knowledge, unless they changed some things since I last played, which is entirely possible. It's been a while. So let's just take a quick stock of things. Both teams have an even number of tier 6s. KV-1 is a tier 5. A little over half the team is the lower tiers. Tier 6 per team is 7 tanks. And all with the exception of that Lux, everyone else is tier 5. But I mean, that Lux kind of brought it on himself by platooning up with the Su-85. Although I do believe the Lux does get scout matchmaking. So I think he would have gotten this anyway. I mean, he still could have gotten this, I think. I don't know, it's been a while since I played that vehicle. I am up to the SP-1C, as we know. From the previous replay, what was it, 2 matches ago? I don't even remember. But, as we can already tell, Tank Warrior is all about having fun this match, spending a little bit of credits, and firing all 10 of his heat shells. I mean, he's got them selected right from the start, and then he's got his high explosive. So we're going to see some KV-1 derp action going on here, and see pretty much how well he can pull it off. I'm really not too sure. I mean, we all know he sent it to me with good reason. I do know he does get quite a good chunk of damage from the email, but I didn't look too deeply into the detailed stats. So right now, the enemy team killing a friendly T-34. I almost misread that as an enemy T-34 dying, but Churchill 3, a pretty solid vehicle right here. If I recall, premium? No, the Churchill 3 is the standard, right? The Churchill 1 is the premium. Although, I don't know. I'm so used to my different tank kind of calculator that would show the premium tanks is a different color as a gold color, but this standard doesn't give you any differentiating color for a premium tank. So it's been a while since I've seen tier 5, as we are all well aware by this point in time. T-34-85, I say that even though the little arty that could, as 228 framed it with the last match, that FB304 already did have some tier 5. But digressing, I am way off the tracks with this one already, clearly. Just, yeah, bruh, professional. So, progressing forward, all the heavy tanks really going to standard heavy tank positions, that medium tank, that T-34-85, and a very standard, medium tank position. The Churchill 1 finally joining the battle. So, the Churchill line in general, very slow, very hard to play properly just because it takes you so long to get to the battle. And, ooh, a solid hit with that heat round, which I believe only has 140 penetration. So, clearly enough there, though, to get through that Churchill. And he will eliminate it, knowing that one of the weaker parts on that Churchill is its turret, just because it's so flat, has no angling to it whatsoever, and he knew, probably from experience, that he could penetrate it. So already off to a good start with the damage. Nearly dead, though. His radio man is down. He's already used his med kit and his repair kit on other things that I missed. And the Lux way over there on the left-hand side down the hill in the center, not really a concern at this point in time. Looks like the Su-85 is trying to keep him stationary, as we can tell by the damaged track module right there. Su-85 deciding to stop. 34-85 being very intelligent, just peeking out barely enough. Oh, maybe made a mistake, and he did, getting ammo racked. But the Su-85 nearly killing Tank Warrior here. I almost said a different name if that was not clearly apparent to everyone else. The Hellcat still on that northern flank, just on the side of Airfield next to those hills. Got to be careful. Oh, now it's moving in. Hellcat, virtually no armor, but Tank Warrior really cannot pull forward for fear of being killed by the Su-85, which, I don't know, at this point in time, he might be far enough away with nothing really to spot him to where that 85 won't be able to see him. Now the Hellcat's in position. Very soft armor on that, taking a bit of risk. Gonna shoot the Hellcat. He will get a solid 384 hit, but he's got to back out of there right away, otherwise he would die to that 85. So got to be very cautious here. And surviving by only 7 hit points. I know I sometimes say a little bit of hit points don't make too much of a difference. It's like, oh, the extra 100 hit points provided by an upgraded turret. How often does that save you? How often are you surviving by less than 100 hit points? Sometimes more often than you might think. And so, I mean, clearly just me having to eat my own words here by him barely hanging on by the skin of his armor, I suppose. I would say the skin of his teeth, but tanks don't have teeth unless you count the gun as its bite. But again, derailing. I think my fatigue is finally starting to catch up with me, ladies and gentlemen. The Hellcat, there is a second Hellcat last spotted somewhere near base. A good chunk of the remaining enemy forces toward their base. It is still a fairly even fight, although I could say that Tank Warrior's team does have a 2-tank advantage, considering one of the vehicles remaining for the enemy team is that tier 4 Lux. So maybe not so important. Although the Lux is near the base, he will get behind that SG-100Y as we see on the map and possibly cause some trouble. No, the T-150 saves the 100Y for a second. I thought the 100Y did manage to kill that Lux. And a whole bunch of enemy tanks just falling in rapid succession. The 85, I'm sorry, not the 85. Well, yeah, the 85 and a few others to include that Lux. I misread the kill feed there for a moment. But pretty much all but in the bag now. Tank Warrior having 3 kills for himself and only being contested really by that, what is that? A Cheeto, the tier 6 Japanese medium on the enemy team with 4 kills. I wonder if either of them will get the chance at Top Gun, but in order for that to happen, I mean, the Tank Warrior has to kill all 3 remaining enemy tanks, which means he probably has to be a little more aggressive and opportunistic, which he kind of is here in the middle, but he can't be too aggressive for fear of getting eliminated, which is a very real possibility. All 3 remaining tanks on the enemy team are tier 6, top tier for this battle, and almost getting a little stuck there, almost losing his 7 hit points on going down that hill. Oh my goodness, why would you risk it? But I guess the ends justify the means. He did not end up killing himself, thank goodness, clearly going down them with enough caution to avoid crashing his tank. Right here, Cheeto failing to notice him and will die for it. 279 damage, only 2 heat rounds left. He's not fired a single high explosive round, so he is firing nothing but heat. And if the enemy team can't stand the heat, they should stop playing World of Tanks. I'm just not even gonna try even more to make that pun work. Ooh, a kill on that 100Y by the T-150, who will then possibly die right here. He's got to be careful. Oh my goodness, I was fully expecting Tank Warrior to die. That T-150 should have had him. Well, that is certainly my bad, not noticing the other enemy tank dying. Barely denying Tank Warrior here his Top Gun. He does earn Steel Wall, barely surviving. High Caliber as well for his trouble. Ace Tanker, Demolition Expert, Fighter, Shell-Proof, Duelist, and Fire for Effect. But we go to the detailed report right here. Not the detailed report, I'm sorry, the team score tab. I don't even know why I would mix those two up. But we do see he earned a significant amount of damage done, as well as those 5 kills. Closest competitor for either team, over 1,000 hit points away, and in a tier 6 match, that's pretty significant. I mean, hell, some tier 10s have trouble getting over 2,000, just under 3,000 damage, depending on the player in the match. I mean, it's very respectable here for a tier 5 vehicle. I mean, he was firing heat, which we're gonna see exactly how much that hurt in that detailed report tab, but for the moment, let's just appreciate it. The T-150 on his team doing pretty well. In addition to himself, shots fired 11, 6 for 5. I mean, if he had really just had a better hit and pen ratio, I mean, his hit and pen ratio wasn't that bad, but his hit for fired ratio probably would have done a lot better for himself. The Hellcat on the enemy team doing a bit better with the 15 and 10 for shots fired and direct hits, but still only managing to penetrate about half of his shots, which is what I think this one comes about. Yeah, this one comes about to half as well. So the ratio is really not being there, but we see right there, Tank Warrior doing a little bit better, but we'll get into that a little bit more when it comes to that tab. Now, I am kind of curious, the Lux right here, not doing too shabby for himself, actually being pretty high up on the list in damage done, and if we rank it by experience, well, he's even higher just because of how small he was for that, but still, kind of curious if he actually got, so, no spotting damage, apparently. Oh, well, nothing significant anyway, 47, but I guess he kind of pulled his weight to an extent, and that platoon right there, really getting punished. And I do want to say the Churchill 3 is the premium, if my memory serves correctly. But we had both the premium and the standard here, regardless of how it works out for the enemy team, both of which not really doing much. Churchill 1 dying nearly instantly to, well, Tank Warrior, and the Churchill 3 also kind of being a victim of Tank Warrior. In fact, did they both die to him? Or nope, the Churchill 3 did not, the Churchill 1 did. So, we go to detail report. 9 shots fired, all 9 hit, 8 of them penned. And that's why he got so much damage. I mean, in this tier, doing that much damage per shot, which is why I run the 122mm on the SU-100, just because being able to dish out nearly 400 damage on the regular in a match where tier 6 is top tier is just absolutely amazing. It is so impactful, especially because you can kill some tier 4s and even some tier 5s in one hit. I think even a tier 6 or 2, depending on what tier 6 it is. I'm pretty sure I'm wrong on that one, actually. Let's just back that one up and not make such an idiot of myself. But we do see 12 hits received, 5 of them penetrated, 7 of them were non-penetrating, but that's because of some of the track shots he was absorbing by that 85 who want to kind of keep him there, I guess, for a little bit. Damage blocked by armor over 1,000, which is more than his hit points, if I'm not mistaken. And, yeah, well, yeah, it has to be, because he got shell-proof. So definitely more than his hit points. Enemy vehicles damaged versus destroyed 7-5, and distance traveled just over 1.28 kilometers, although not really a significant figure for heavy tanks. I guess I should only really note that if it's worth noting. So yeah, did actually manage not to lose credits, but only because he was running premium. If he was not, he would have been just under 20,000 in the hole. So definitely came to his aid there, but he did earn a good chunk of experience normally, and then he got an action personal missions payout as well. So that's pretty good payoff for that, I've got to say. Very well played for a KV-1 in a tier 6 match. Didn't get overly zealous, I want to say. Played cautiously enough to where he survived with 7 hit points and earned himself a good chunk of medals and such in the process. So very well played, but that will wrap it up for this video. If you enjoyed this video, please consider hitting that like button. If you want to see more, subscribe. If you got something you want to share or suggest in relation to my videos or channel, comments section. And if you've got a replay you think I should do a commentary on, description has instructions on how to submit, as well as a whole bunch of other information. But until next time, this has been Spang, and clearly I am just oh so professional.
MLG.